Hey everyone, me Kevin here. This is your stimulus check, stimulus package, and warning video for all of you. Today is Sunday, June 21st. Happy Father's Day. Quick reminder, the latest coupon, you already know about it, does expire in 3 days. First, I'd like to start by talking about the day's news, the stimulus, and the Tulsa rally, and then I want to get into the warning. So the warning will be towards the end along with recommendations. Now, first thing. Donald Trump held his first campaign rally yesterday in quite a while, and I went through everything that Donald Trump said, and I counted how often he used the following words. Obama, 4 times. That means in his entire speech, he said Obama 4 times. Stock, 7 times. Biden, 43 times. Black, 7 times. Virus, 5 times. China, 12 times. Democrat, 22 times. Stimulus, 0 times. Checks, 0 times. Unemployment, 0 times. CARES, like the CARES Act, 0 times. Payment, like a direct payment, which is another way of saying stimulus check, 0 times. I personally thought this would have been an impeccable opportunity for Trump to offer his reassurances to us as a country. Like him or not, he is our president, and many of us are feeling very uncertain right now, and we're longing for guidance, especially from our leader, whomever that may be. And in regards to the coronavirus case count, Donald Trump did say that we should just, quote, slow down testing. Well, actually, the quote was, quote, slow the testing down. But anyway, same thing. Some would argue whether or not this was a joke, including most news publications calling out Donald Trump for saying this and suggesting how could we slow down testing. And other politicians, of course, jumped in on the offensive against Donald Trump for saying this. But Donald Trump has made this sort of statement in the past, so this does kind of make sense that he would kind of bring it up again. He has in the past frequently kind of alluded to, hey, because we're testing more, cases are going up. And so he's basically trying to make this reverse argument that, well, if we just tested less, we wouldn't see the cases as much. But in reality, in his opinion, cases might be staying stable. We're just seeing them more now. Now, obviously, it's up to us individually to determine what we feel about this, but I did go through the case counts for Friday and Saturday, which I encourage you to do this, although maybe it'll just stress you out more because it stresses me out more. I kind of just on a daily basis Google coronavirus cases, United States, and then I get a case count. And this Friday and Saturday, we hit our first days of over 30,000 cases in the United States. This was the first time we've hit those numbers since May 1st and May 2nd. And over the last 90 days, we've only hit 30,000 cases 14 times. And 2 of those times were yesterday and the day before. Now, obviously, this is very bad news for anybody at risk of serious issues from COVID. Unfortunately, even people my age, while the odds are low, have seen serious consequences from COVID. Now, like Trump or not, we know that Representative AOC applauded Zoomers and TikTokers for flooding Trump's rally with fake ticket requests, leading Trump to tweet that 1 million people were planning on attending his Tulsa rally. Yet the Trump campaign stated that 12,000 actually showed up, and the Tulsa Fire Department said that they only counted 6,200 people. Now, again, whether or not you like Trump, because I'm not taking sides, he's just obviously the biggest part of the news this weekend, there are a lot of worrisome things for us to look at for the future of our country. And again, this is not a political reference. This is strictly about our money, stimulus, and the future of the economy. The first reason all of the information that I just gave you is worrisome is because it shows that many of us might be comfortable with going back to social gatherings, concerts, rallies, malls, and restaurants, but there are equally many of us, if not more, who would prefer to stay home and watch. That's not so good because even though, let's say about 2 weeks ago, we had a lot of enthusiasm in the market, that everything was going back to normal because we saw sort of this spike in attendance at restaurants and malls again, maybe that's just the comfortable part of our population and not really representative of our entire population. I certainly know that for myself because Lauren has asthma and allergies and many underlying conditions like that. We prefer to stay home and just order everything online. Now, the second reason this could be a potential problem is more of a political one. There are a lot of people who associate a Republican presidency and Republican-controlled Congress with higher stock market returns, and there are a lot of people who believe, whether it's true or not, that if a Democrat comes into office, the stock market may be lower. Now, Now, I don't know. We have heard that Biden wants to increase the corporate tax rate. We know that Donald Trump wants to keep tax rates low, but we also don't exactly know which is better for stocks. It's all speculation. But this is a sign that the more volatility we have around who the next president is, the more volatility we can expect to see in the markets and the economy. And again, the more volatility we see combined with more volatility in cases, the more we'd think the focus of our national dialogue right now would be on stimulus. Unfortunately, we're just not seeing a lot of that. And so naturally, a lot of us are very frustrated that why are we not spending more time talking about stimulus, especially when countries like Canada are sending monthly checks to their constituents? Now, I don't want to make any predictions here, but certainly if negativity continues in the stock market and the economy and, some of these concerns become more of an issue, yeah, hopefully stimulus becomes more of a pressing issue for our leaders. But right now, things seem to be a little bit more quiet, which is definitely frustrating. This, by the way, at the same time that the World Health Organization, and I know every time I mention them, I get a lot of people who are upset that I mentioned them, but I will quote this because it is very newsworthy. The quote is, quote, "Many people are understandably fed up with being at home. Countries are understandably eager to open up their societies and economies. But the virus is still spreading fast. It is still deadly, and most people are still susceptible." And so this was a very large warning from the World Health Organization, different from the warning that I plan to give, but I want to get through one more piece of news, and then let's talk about my warning. Senator Mitch McConnell had protesters outside of his house, and organizers tweeted, "No justice, no sleep for Mitch," as they marched in front of his house, chanting, "No justice, no sleep." The Twitter quote went on to say, "You let our economy tumble into freefall, our people be gunned down in the streets by killer cops, and our planet be ravaged by your oil CEO friends. This is Juneteenth. We're wide awake. In November, when we vote you out, maybe you'll wake up too." Clearly, there's no shortage in our society right now of frustration with our political leaders, and it goes for both sides. Of course, I know I sometimes get comments like, "Kevin, why don't you bag more on Democrats?" Well, right now, Democrats have nothing. They have no power right now. They're waiting. They're sitting, and that sucks too, right? We could bag on them for waiting, like get out there and negotiate a little harder. Maybe we could say that. But realistically, right now, all eyes are focused on our Republican leader in the Senate, that's Mitch McConnell, and our presidency. All right, now let's move on to our warning for all. And by the way, did you know that you could get life insurance before the video is over? Click the link down below to see how much a $1 million life insurance policy would cost you. Heck, you could even quote one out for $250,000 or $500,000. Give it a look. You might be surprised how inexpensive it is. Also, remember, you can get 2 free stocks with Webull. Webull is a stock trading app that lets you trade opportunities long before the market opens and long after it closes, which creates some unique opportunities. Deposit $100 with Webull and get 2 free stocks. Now, here's the warning and kind of my recommendation. First, I want to start with this quote. Dr. Michael Osterholm, a prominent U.S. epidemiologist, said, quote, "I don't think we're going to see 1, 2, and 3 waves of sort of this outbreak. I think we're going to see one very, very difficult forest fire of cases." And so the next 4.5 months may be the most challenging, most anxiety-filled 4.5 months we'll ever experience in our lifetimes, and certainly over the next 10 years, in my opinion, thanks to this forest fire. And by the way, the next 4.5 months means 4.5 months until Election Day. Because then at least finally we'll be afforded with some kind of certainty. Whether or not we have a Biden presidency or a Trump presidency, at least we might be able to start setting our own expectations as to what the next 4 years will look like. And the next 4 years are really going to be the start of the end of this forest fire. Hopefully, at least. And so over the next 4.5 months, I think many of us are going to wake up wondering, am I going to lose my job today? Is today the day the vaccine is going to come? Am I going to be able to retire? Will I ever be able to travel the world again? I really want to go see those pyramids in Egypt, and I'd like to do so without social distancing. And when will we just go back to normal? Normal where I can open an Amazon box right when the UPS driver rings the bell, rather than waiting a few hours or even overnight to let the box settle. But no matter, No matter what happens in 135 days, election day, no matter how left behind we feel right now, and no matter how unfair it feels that the government seems to be sitting on their hands in terms of the next round of stimulus, remember that we will still be Americans and we'll get through this. And so here's my warning for now. Number one, make sure you have a fallback job. If you do not have a fallback job or the skills to rely on the fallback job, I highly suggest you watch this video here where I go through some highly paid, no college jobs that you can get very quickly. Number two, expect your stock or retirement portfolio to go up and down like crazy. I personally recommend you don't look at the value of your account. Instead, you look at the quantity of shares you have, even though psychologically that can be very hard to do. When you look at the quantity, you tend to feel a lot better because, well, it doesn't go up or down that much, and generally it only goes up because we want to add to our portfolios, right? The best way to stomach this, by the way, also is just own companies that you actually believe in and understand. If you're throwing money into something speculative because you think it's going to be a quick profit or something like that, realize you'll probably wake up anxious every single day wondering if that roulette wheel is going to stop spinning and whether or not you are now a complete loser or a complete hero. So be very careful. If you invest in companies that you believe in long term, you don't have to worry about that as much. Now, number three, I've personally found the best way to deal with anxiety is to read and learn, and that way you feel productive and you come out of the day ahead. So see what you can do to develop your skill sets and learn every single day. That's my warning, and those are my recommendations. The next few months, 4.5 months, are going to be anxiety-ridden, and follow these 3 recommendations to try to reduce anxiety in your life. In the meantime, I wish we had more updates on stimulus, but at the time being, we don't. All we can really do now is share our concerns, maybe consider sharing this video, and share how important it is that our government finally steps in and helps us more than they've attempted to do thus far. In the meantime, consider subscribing, consider joining the program's link down below. That coupon code does expire soon, and consider checking out that life insurance and Webull for 2 free stocks when you deposit $100. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you soon.